Hello, YouTube! I'm Unca Crunk, just your standard issue purple monster of a certain age who plays games on the internet. In the previous episode of Persona 2, we learned that Nyarlathotep brought Kandori back from the dead and, with the rumors spread by Wang Longchisari, has been collecting Kugare from the people turned into jokers for some nefarious purpose. Also, Eikichi was there, and his rival Sugimoto had been turned into a demon that we had to defeat, but not kill. Also, Tatsuya turned up at the last second to save Eikichi from Kandori. Which brings us to today. Igor has a new scenario for us, Lone Shadow 2, which I bet is Tatsuya's versions of invading Kandori's facility, so we will be doing that today. Okay, additional scenario, Lone Shadow 2. Uh, 13:08 p.m. Alba Park, sometime in February. That's definitely Tatsuya's voice. Unbelievable. How can this be? Former detective Sumaru removed the earphone, shook his head, and looked up at me. Oh, it's Tatsuya's dad! Okay, alright. Well, he's still alive. I guess he just got bumped down to patrolman from detective. After a moment, he half rose from the bench and handed the voice recorder back to me. There was no change in his dumbfounded expression, of course. If I hadn't seen Tatsuya-kun and Sudo's personas myself, I doubt I'd have believed it either. The voice recorder played back what Tatsuya-kun told me about the events on the other side, and his guesses about what's going to happen here on this side. He finally told me after I promised to keep it a secret, but I secretly recorded it. Sorry, Tatsuya-kun. Adults will lie without batting an eye. Persona. But is it really possible for rumors to come true? I removed the charm that I'd inserted into my police notebook. This is the student emblem that Tatsuya-kun lent me. Supposedly, so long as you have the Seven Sisters emblem on you, you'll be safe, even if Joker targets you. It's been a hot topic among the kids lately, and in truth, Sudo hasn't appeared before me ever since. So I said, but he probably couldn't believe me. Adults needed adult logic. So if you'd like to verify it for yourself, try going to a bar called Parabellum. It's near this park. Just as the rumors say, they have things like this for sale. I opened the front of my jacket and drew the G33 from my shoulder holster hanging under my left side, then removed the magazine to be on the safe side and handed them the gun in pieces. It might be an ultra-compact handgun that you could tuck into the palm of your hand, but it used .357 SIG bullets. It had the firepower comparable to a .357 Magnum, close to 5 times that of the .32s the station lent us. It's often called a pocket rocket. Naturally, these don't get supplied to Japanese police officers. The guns we're lent for work have to be returned each day to the service office, so I purchased this weapon for my own personal protection. If you abide by the rules against criminals who use personas or demons or whatever, you won't be able to defend yourself. This is the real thing? So the former detective growled as he verified the weight of the gun and the bullets in the magazine. Said rounds aren't the so-called full metal jackets, which are the full penetration ammo allowed for use in P230JPs and New Nimbus. These were jacketed hollow points, which exposed the lead on the tip and had a pit in the center. They were warheads meant to stop a person stone dead. And also, they're supposed to not ricochet. Their penetrative power fell short compared to FMJ's, but when it came to dealing damage to soft targets, like human bodies, they were far superior. This is because the lead mushroomed at the moment of impact. It efficiently delivered a shock and caused massive blood loss. As a result, their use was prohibited in international warfare per the Hague Convention. I heard it's because they were deemed inhumane due to the unnecessary suffering they caused. Apparently, there was such a thing in this world as humane warfare. Black stars and Makarovs aren't something you can get your hands on at a moment's notice. Even using black market routes from the mainland, the Philippines, and Russia. I don't know how it works precisely, but I can only conclude that rumors have become true. Put that away right now. Suo-san handed back the gun and the magazine, then rested his chin on his hands, which were propped up on top of his thighs, and uttered another groan. Next to him, the wrappers for the anpan we'd lined up to be eaten together earlier swayed in the autumn breeze from under the cardboard milk pack. He'd squeezed in time for me during his lunch break, so we wound up eating here as we talked. It's barely any meal at all for a security guard who spent all his time on his feet, but we couldn't exactly chat about all of this at the cafe around the corner. Oh, so he's not even a patrolman anymore. He's completely out of the force and is basically a rent-a-cop. I asked when his lunch break ended, and that time's already passed. I'd feel bad to keep him here for much longer. I'd better get back to the main issue. Even now, Tatsuya-kun is pursuing Sudowu. He believes he's the only one who can cope with the situation. Or rather, he believes that as the only one who hasn't lost his memory, he has to do this all alone. That's why. Is Castillo aware of the situation? No, I suspect not. It seems Sergeant Suo is cooperating with a woman named Maya Amano, whom Tatsuya-kun is trying to protect. Tatsuya-kun has said he doesn't want to get his friends from the other side or his family involved. That's why he left home. This is fundamentally not a task for children. It's our job as police officers. However, you and I both know that the police are not reliable. Tagashi still. Thinking over his former friend, Suo-san looked up at me as if begging for good news. I didn't have anything I could tell him, though. He's connected to Tatsuzo Suduo. It's clear that he and Captain Shimasu are obstructing the investigation to make sure Tatsuya Suduo doesn't get detained. Togashi. He seemed to age 10 years as his head sagged down, hand on his brow. It was probably tough knowing his best friend betrayed him and continued to participate in the crimes for which he should have been arrested. Somewhere inside, he had still trusted Togashi. Right now, the only one who can defeat Sudowu and protect the world is Tatsuya-kun. I realize I'm asking too much. But he can't shoulder the burden all alone. I'll support him to the extent that I'm capable. Tatsuya-kun needs the help of adults who know what's really happening. We first met at Zodiac during his remodeling. After hearing about the inevitability of Takuya's death and the secrets of the world, I forced Tatsuya-kun to make a deal with me. I'd provide him with a place to stay and information on the Sudowu investigation. In return, he'd make sure Sudowu dies and stays dead. Most likely, no matter how things go, Tatsuya-kun will eventually have to settle things with Sudowu regardless. Legally speaking, there might be room to assert that it was legitimate self-defense. However, that doesn't change the fact that he's hurting and killing someone. No matter how evil that someone may be, the fact that he's ending their life will leave an indelible scar on Tatsuya-kun's heart. It's not all his fault. I'm the one who requested Sumaru's death. I don't care if it's just a consolation. It might be enough to allow him to forgive himself. Could you possibly let Tatsuya-kun do as he wills? Sumaru-san stood up then, a shade of anguish fading from his eyes. It seemed he'd made the decision to watch over his son, who was trying to oppose a cruel fate. Understood. I feel at ease knowing that he's in your care. I'll talk to my wife and withdraw the missing persons report. Thank you very much. I bowed my head, grateful from the bottom of my heart. He was basically telling me he was giving me his son's life, when I couldn't have complained if he'd struck me instead. But with this, it should get a little easier for Tatsuya-kun to make his move. Even at the best of times, he stands out. So long as he's moving around this city, it's better to remove as many unnecessary hurdles as possible. I never dreamed that I'd get mixed up in something like this. Is this what you'd call fate? I'd meant to do this for their sake, but ultimately, I ended up pushing my failure onto my sons. I'm truly sorry to you too, Shiori-san. I capitulated to Tatsuzu's threats to protect my family. Thanks to that, you're now in this position. Suo-san and me, Chief Togashi and Suru's son, the head of investigations, and the kids who created this sign, and finally, the woman who holds the fate of the world, Maya Amano. Tatsuya's core connections spread out from him like a mandala, but a warped one, fashioned by a malicious artisan to mock its subjects and viewers. While the individuals look unrelated at a glance, they draw a similar relationship chart through someone else, or us, whose names joined the list without any of us the wiser. 10 years' time hasn't given us any resolution at all. All the loss and despair we struggled to endure, all the sorrow and rage that piled upon us, it was nothing more than the overture. That said, we've had plenty of time to make sure we recover even so. Don't underestimate us humans. I'm sure I'd have done the same had I been in your shoes. Side switch. I'm glad now that I became a policewoman. I got to meet Tatsuya-kun, and I can extend a hand to kids who've committed crimes without forcing them into the twisted society adults created. It might be impossible for now, but one day, I want to make our society one where kids like Tatsuya-kun can live with a smile. That's the task of us adults. Kids mustn't be forced into a world where they have to sacrifice something in order to enter it. I heard the Aerospace Museum blimp is flying. Let's go check it out. Whoa! The rumor it flies was true. Let's go. Overhearing the voices of children running nearby, Suo-san and I shared a glance and looked up at the sky. I couldn't see it from here, but perhaps it was true that the blimp was flying. Come to think of it, I heard fire truck sirens wailing just a bit ago. I don't know why, but I got the feeling that Tatsuya-kun's almost certainly owned that blimp. See it through to the end, Tatsuya-kun, so you don't regret a thing. Okay, it's still February 4:36. I'm home. I knew there wouldn't be a response. This hour, Shiori-san should still be at work. Still felt like I'm barging in here. If I treated it as anything but home, she'd get mad. I hopped into the bathroom and took a shower with my motorcycle leather still on. It was already soaked with loads of salt water. It's quicker to wash off the salt this way. Tatsuya Sudo is dead. But I don't think this is the end. Mayani also hadn't given up. Seemed like all of them, my brother, Ulala-san, and that other guy, were chasing me and Sudo down. When I saved Yoshizaka at the 7 clock tower, I gave Mayani an emblem and advised her to spread a rumor, so I figured it'd be safe for me to leave her alone for now. I was naive. The more I pulled away, the more she'd approach me with that steady smile until before I knew it, I couldn't get her out of my head. Still, I was right to keep an eye out for June in the meantime. I knew Sudo, who had already tried to abduct Yoshizaka, would absolutely try to force June into the masked role of Joker. I had been right. Honestly, I wanted to settle up with Sudo before he captured June, but I got thrown off when Mayani appeared. I decided I'd never have anything directly to do with him again, but June got involved, and at that time, he ended up recognizing my face. Really, at this rate, I need at least 5 of me to protect everyone. I'm sure he picked his next move ages ago. It's obvious I still haven't gone even 1 millimeter off the rails he laid down. Once I stripped and washed the salt off my skin too, I got out of the shower and changed into the jeans Shiori-san bought me. I'd like to just let my leathers dry in the sun. There wasn't any point. I flipped the switch on the dryer in the washroom. I headed to the room I'd been borrowing and threw myself down onto the single sofa bed. Aside from the sofa bed, there were 10 cardboard boxes of Shiori-san's in the corner that she hadn't unpacked, and a clothing case for me. That was it. I was grateful just to have a place I can stay, somewhere close to Mayani in case anything happened. That was more than enough. However, I really shouldn't have left without saying a word the night we met at Zodiac and kept Shiori-san from getting involved with us any further. Shiori-san told me about her younger brother. Couldn't leave in silence then. Her brother was murdered by Sudo in my place. "10 years ago, the day Shiori-san's younger brother was killed was the same day Mayani and myself were locked up in Elias Shrine on the other side. The other side, Sudo, set the shrine on fire while we were locked up inside it. Since I was just a kid, I was finally able to escape by just barely squeezing through a gap in the floorboards. I went outside in order to save Mayani, but I was stabbed in the back. That's when I awoke to my persona and burned Sudo's face. Sudo thought that Mayani had done that, so that's why he stalked her. But when we lost to him, in order to recreate a world where Mayani lived, we changed history a little bit, and some things were erased so that they never happened. On this side, we all never met 10 years ago, so Sudo also never stabbed me. To fill that hole, Shiori-san's little brother was killed. I understood why. It was a present from him, showing me what happens when we change history. Damn it, you fucking bastard! I twisted and pulled at my hair. I hated him so much I could go mad. I won't forgive him. I wanted to kill him, wanted to die and disappear, and dug my nails into the mark he left on my right arm.
Let's positive speaking! メッセージは前向きにね。
The sudden ringing of the telephone brought me back to my senses. I was so overwhelmed by exhaustion that I thought I heard Mayane's voice on the answering machine message. The incoming call was on the landline in Shiori-san's room. Something was odd. The person who called in didn't say a word or hang up. They just stayed on the line, silent. I strained my ears on what I could hear in the next room through the slightly ajar door. It was after maybe a minute, and a man's voice suddenly, hesitantly, began to whisper. I know who you called. If you're capable of hearing this, contact Sergeant Sumaru as soon as you can. Contact my brother? I didn't get it. Guess the guy who called Shiori-san was in trouble. Wait, who you called? I had a bad feeling about this. I jumped to my feet, hurried into Shiori-san's room, and turned on the TV. On the other side, he got humanity to self-destruct by making rumors come true and spreading anxiety through society. I got the sense that by going out of his way to make me run into Sumaru and spreading the rumors about Joker, he was using the same tricks even on this side. Even the news was just another one of his tools. I flipped through the channels until a program with that shady fortune teller woman who did the Wang Long fortunes that were popular these days caught my attention. Kegare calls forth Kegare, and Joker causes sin to increase. The more people sin, the greater Kegare's power becomes. It is cause and effect. You must not let jealousy and petty grudges consume you. You must not perform the Joker curse. If you do, you will be possessed by Joker. Thus, those who perform the curse will end up becoming a Joker themselves. What the actual fluffing fluff? Wow, so then, the Joker isn't just one particular person? My heart pounded in my throat as every hair on my body stood on end. My memories of the other side and what had happened on this side intersected dizzily in my head. I understood what the answering machine message from a moment ago and Sudo's last words meant. The man who phoned in knew both that Shiori-san had called Joker. Oh, God. And what was said on TV just now? Crap! I completely forgot about that angle. Shiori's gonna turn into a Joker now. So he furtively warned her that there was a danger that she herself would become a Joker. Didn't know who the hell that was, but it was someone who knew what was going on. But he couldn't do anything about it himself. That was why he told her to ask my brother for help. Shiori-san said that there were guys in the police force who were trying to mislead the investigation on Joker and Sudoru. Most likely, he was someone in the police who knew that, same as Shiori-san. The fear has been spread. The Joker won't die. What Sudo was saying was that this is how Joker will circulate and multiply. I leapt at the phone in that room and called Shiori-san's cell number, which I had memorized. Come on, pick up. Joker was already drawing society's attention. Air a program like this and it'd become a rumor in a flash. It was a matter of time before Joker would appear all over town. Respectable people would just laugh off a program like this. But what happens if what the rumored fortune teller says comes true? What was a joke will become the seed for what if for a ton of people. People will spread it by word of mouth. fear and anxiety will in turn spread like an epidemic, and at last it will become reality. That's how the curse that people unknowingly set off became common knowledge, and the other side fell to ruin just as he planned. The same thing was starting to happen here, with the person closest to me as the sacrifice. Damn it! No good she wasn't picking up. It alarmed me that it wasn't even going to voicemail. Headed back to my room, picked up the sword I stole from Sumaru at Zodiac, and left Shiori-san's house. I needed to find her before she killed someone. April, 10:24 p.m. Mayani, you still haven't given up. When I jumped the security fence and reached what looked like the security room for the research lab, I found the security guards had already been overcome and the alarms and monitors cut. No wonder it was so easy for me to sneak in. Found 3 warped coins on the floor next to the security guards collapsed in front of the door. There's only one person who could take out gun-toting enemies with something like that. Baofu, that shady old man. Which meant Mayani and my brother were here too. They're probably a step ahead of me and got wind that the kidnapped Joker users were dragged here. This was going to be a pain. 2 full days had passed since I left Shiori-san's place and tracked the rumors to this place. In that time, Shiori-san hadn't returned home or to the police station. There was no mistake. His underlings had kidnapped her. All over town, people who used the Joker curse had been turning into Joker users and, for some reason, getting kidnapped just as quickly by some unknown party. I needed to simultaneously rescue Shiori-san, Mayani, and the others, and figure out who the guys hunting down Joker users really were. No pressure, though. They were the pawns he was using in place of the masked circle. I'd knock out all 3 tasks at once. If possible, I wanted to get my hands on the information here before Mayani and the others did. Then, erase my tracks so they wouldn't get in any deeper than they already had. Could I do it? No. I will do it! In the next episode, to the outro! Well, crap! Not only is Shiori a Joker now, but she's been captured by Kandori. I really do hope we can rescue her, but I'm not optimistic. So, Tassia is fighting so hard to protect Maya and June from learning about the other side. You know what this reminds me of? Cognito hazards from the SCP Wiki. Cognito hazards are things that can harm you or even the entirety of reality just by learning about them. Kind of like how in Lovecraft's Cthulhu mythos, just learning about any of the horrors of that universe can drive you mad. Of course, SCP is pretty heavily influenced by Lovecraft, and obviously, Persona is very heavily influenced by the greater mythos created by not only Lovecraft, but August Derleth and Brian Lumley as well. Derleth classified the mythos, gave various entities elemental affinities, and even created some, well, good, in heavy quotations, entities. And Lumley, well, okay, so a lot of mythos purists dislike Lumley because he gave his protagonists the ability to use the powers of the mythos to stand against the unspeakable horrors of the universe, rather like Philemon. Anywho, next time we will see just how successful, or not, Tassia's quest to save Shiori is. We already know he failed to prevent Maya from getting Kandori's experiment data. In the meantime, up here is a playlist of my Phoenix Wright Justice for All playthrough, and down here is a video that YouTube recommends. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!